Okay, so today we're going to be drawing a street with buildings in 1-point perspective. This is what the finished example is going to look like. In this drawing, we're going to be using vertical and horizontal lines, and I also made this example to show you how important that your vertical and horizontal lines are actually vertical and actually horizontal, because if they're crooked, they're going to end up looking like this one on the left. We want to make sure that we're actually making our lines perfectly horizontal and vertical. So we're going to start by drawing our horizon line. It's going to be about in the middle of the page. And to make sure it's actually a horizontal line, look at the edge of your ruler, this short edge, and if it's in line with the edge of the paper, then you know that the ruler should be straight and not off at an angle. Then we're going to draw our vanishing point. It's going to be slightly off center. It's going to be slightly off to the right. Then I'm going to draw two lines going to our vanishing point. These are going to create the two sides of our road. Next, I'm going to be drawing a horizontal line coming out of this side of the street. It's going to be 2.5 inches, a 2.5 inch line that's going to come out of this receding line, just like this. And I want to make sure my ruler isn't crooked, that it's actually horizontal. Now I'm going to make a vertical line, and again I can look at that short edge of my ruler to see if it's lined up to my paper, and then I'll know it's straight and not crooked. So I'm going to draw two vertical lines, again looking at the edge of my ruler to help me make sure the ruler's straight. And then I'm going to connect them on the top to make this rectangle shape. Then I'm going to erase this part of our horizon line that's inside our building. So this is the side of our building. Now to draw the front of our building, there's going to be receding lines, so we're going to draw a line to the vanishing point from that top corner, and the bottom of the building is just going to line up with the line for our street. Now we draw another vertical line, leave a little bit of space in there to create the front side of the building, and then erase the horizon line. And then I can erase the rest of this receding line to the vanishing point because I don't need it anymore. Now we're going to make a second building behind the first one. We're going to make this one slightly shorter, so a horizontal line coming out of that first building, and then a vertical line going down. Now to create the front of the building, again we'll draw a line to the vanishing point, and then another vertical line to create the other side, and then we'll erase that part of the horizon line that's inside the building. And then we can erase the rest of that receding line, the vanishing point line, as well. So now we have the basis for our two buildings. Now what I'm going to be doing on this front building is we're going to be drawing a doorway. So I start with a vertical line, then the top of the doorway lines up to the vanishing point, and then the other side of the doorway is another vertical line. Then I'm going to do this to make it look like the doorway is going actually into the building. We're going to, in this corner, create a tiny horizontal line, then up from there, a vertical line, and then at the bottom there, a vanishing point line. So that makes it look like the doorway's going into the building. So just a quick little horizontal line, then vertical line, and a vanishing point line. And then I can draw another vertical line in the middle so that it looks like it creates two doors, and then I can even make little door handles like this. So it looks like there's a door that's inside a doorway that's set slightly inside the building. Now we're going to be making 3 windows. I'm going to do 1 inch by 1 inch squares for these windows. Again, you need to make sure when you're drawing these lines, these horizontal and vertical lines, that they're actually horizontal and vertical, and that your ruler isn't crooked or going off at an angle. So I'm making another 1 inch by 1 inch square for this window. And then I'm making a third window, so another 1 inch by 1 inch square. Then to add an extra level of detail to the windows, I'm going to create a frame around each of the windows, basically a border. So inside each of the squares, I'm just going to make a smaller square right inside of it to make it look like there's a frame around each window. So I'll do that for each one. And I realized I forgot to put the bottom of the second building, which is a horizontal line that needs to go right down at the bottom there, so make sure you put that in. So next I'm going to be drawing what could either be a big window or what could eventually be a sign on the front of the building. I start with a vertical line, then a vanishing point line, then another vertical line, then another vanishing point line to create this square on the front of the building that could either be a sign or a window eventually. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create sidewalks on both sides of the street. Within the lines of our street, I'm going to make 2 vanishing point lines inside there to make these 2 little areas on each side. So now we're going to be drawing horizontal lines to make the sections of the sidewalk. So as we do this, it's really important to make sure your ruler is straight and horizontal, not crooked. And the other thing is we want to think about how these sidewalk tiles need to look like they're getting smaller as they're getting further away. So as you get closer to the vanishing point, start making these horizontal lines get closer and closer together. Again, making sure the whole time that your ruler is not crooked, that they're horizontal lines and not going off at a weird angle. So as I go back towards my vanishing point, I'm making these lines get closer and closer together. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a little edge or a little curb on each sidewalk so that the sidewalk actually looks three-dimensional. So I'm going to make another vanishing point line that's really close to that edge to make it look like there's a little edge or a curb here. And then these gaps in between the sidewalk tiles, we're going to continue those onto the edge of the curb by creating vertical lines. So the vertical line, each line starts where the horizontal line ends up and then goes straight down. You need to make sure that these little lines are actually drawing them straight down. They're vertical lines. You don't want them going off at a weird angle. So make sure that these lines point straight down. So now we'll do the same on the other side. We'll do another vanishing point line that's pretty close to the edge of our sidewalk there to create the curb. And again, these lines that we're drawing that go down on the side of the curb need to go straight down. They need to be vertical lines, so make sure your ruler is pointing straight down. And then you'll just continue that line where it left off. And then draw each one. Really important to remember that these are vertical lines, so they need to point straight down, not at an angle. Alright, so that is the basis for our street. Eventually we're going to be adding more to it, but this is what we're starting off with.